The digital beep slices through my dreams like a razor. Beep, beep, beep. Access denied. My eyes snap open. The red numbers on my bedside clock read 8:15 a.m. Saturday morning in Austin, and the sun slants through my blinds in dusty stripes. Beep, beep, beep. Access denied. The sound comes again, electronic and sharp. My heart lurches from sleepy confusion to alert panic in the span of a single breath. Someone is at my door. Someone with the wrong code. What the hell? She changed the code. The voice belongs to Bryce, my younger brother. His words slice through the apartment door, vibrating with indignation. I sit up, sheets tangling around my legs. Last night, I deleted their access codes from my smart lock system. After 8 years of them walking in whenever they pleased, I finally did it. One small act of rebellion. The pounding starts not knocking, but the full weight of a body slamming against wood. The door frame shudders. Emery, open this door. This is your brother's house. My mother's voice, shrill and commanding. Open up, Emery, or I'm breaking it down. Bryce again, his voice rough with effort. My hands shake as I reach for my phone on the nightstand. Without thinking, I press record on the video camera. Evidence. Protection. Something cold and certain settles in my stomach as I slide out of bed. The hardwood floor feels solid beneath my bare feet as I cross to the door. My heart thunders in my chest, but I force my breathing to slow. 1, 2, 3. The chain slides into place before I unlock the deadbolt. I open the door just wide enough to show my face, holding my phone up where they can see I'm recording. Bryce stumbles back mid-lunge, his shoulder still angled for another blow. Behind him stands Patricia, my mother, immaculate at this ungodly hour in pressed slacks and a blouse the color of butter. She clutches a thick manila folder in her manicured hands. My father hovers by the elevator, looking everywhere but at me. What are you doing? My voice emerges as barely more than a whisper. Patricia scoffs, brushing imaginary lint from her sleeve. Stop this nonsense. We're here to get the house ready. Bryce needs you to sign these papers. She brandishes the folder like a weapon. I stare at the three of them, and suddenly, I'm back at last night's dinner. My father's birthday celebration at Carmela's, his favorite steakhouse. The moment plays in my head with crystal clarity. Patricia raised her wine glass, the chandelier light catching it and creating a subtle shimmer. And to Bryce, who's finally getting the asset he deserves to start his business. The table had gone quiet. I'd looked up from my barely touched fillet. What asset? My mother laughed, a cold, tinkling sound like breaking glass. The condo, silly. You're just crashing here. It's always been for Bryce. Everyone laughed. My Uncle Ted, my cousin Mallory, even my father, whose birthday we were celebrating. They all laughed while I sat there, blood draining from my face, fork suspended midair. The condo I'd bought 8 years ago. The condo where every mortgage payment had come from my bank account. The condo that was supposed to be temporary until I saved enough for New York, for the master's program I'd given up when Dad lost his job. Now they stand at my door, expecting me to hand over my home. No. The word falls from my lips, small but firm. Bryce's face contorts. What do you mean, no? Something shifts inside me. The tremor in my hands stills. The tightness in my chest loosens just enough to let me breathe. I straighten my spine and meet his gaze. I mean, no, you can't come in, and this is not Bryce's house. I push the door closed and turn around. My desk sits 10 feet away, bottom drawer slightly ajar from last night's frantic search. I grab the stack of papers I'd pulled out after the dinner after I realized what they were planning. When I face the door again, I hold them up. The deed, the mortgage statements, 8 years of payments from my account, all bearing one name, Emery Nash. This, I say, my voice shaking but clear, is my house. The shock on their faces would be comical if it weren't so terrible. My mother's perfectly lined lips part in outrage. Bryce's face flushes crimson. My father finally looks at me, his expression unreadable. For one suspended moment, we all stand frozen in tableau. Then I slam the door shut. The deadbolt slides home with a satisfying click, followed by the electronic lock's beep and announcement that I am safe. On the other side, the screaming begins. My mother's voice rises to a pitch I've never heard before. Bryce pounds on the door, each impact shaking the frame. My father's lower tones rumble between them, trying to quiet them down. I lean my back against the door, phone still recording as I slide to the floor. My legs won't hold me anymore. The papers scatter around me like fallen leaves. Outside, my family continues their assault, but in here in my home, I'm finally standing my ground. I slide to the floor, back pressed against the door, legs splayed awkwardly across the hardwood. The screaming continues outside, my mother's voice reaching that particular pitch she saves for when she's not getting her way. My phone still records, capturing the muffled chaos, but my fingers have gone numb. I can't feel them anymore. The first sob catches me by surprise. It punches up from somewhere deep in my stomach, clawing past my throat with such force my whole body jerks forward. Then another follows, and another. Soon I'm gasping, struggling to pull air into lungs that feel too small, too tight. Have you ever had that moment? When someone you trusted since birth, someone whose voice taught you words, whose hands steadied your first steps, reveals they've been plotting against you all along? I curl forward, forehead pressed against my knees, and let 8 years of sacrifice pour out of me. 8 years of mortgage payments. 8 years of staying in Austin instead of pursuing my master's in New York. 8 years of believing I wasn't good enough yet, that I needed to save more, prepare more, be more. All while they planned to take the one thing I'd managed to build. An hour passes before the hall goes quiet. My legs cramp as I push myself up, wiping tear-streaked mascara from my cheeks. Coffee. I need coffee. The mundane act of measuring grounds and pouring water gives my hands something to do besides shake. My phone buzzes on the counter. An email notification. First National Bank. Subject line. Your HELOC application. Appraisal confirmation. The mug slips from my hand, clattering against the countertop but miraculously not breaking. I grab my phone, scanning the message with growing horror. Dear Miss Nash, this email is to confirm your appointment with our appraiser, Mr. Fields, for this coming Monday at 10 a.m. HELOC, home equity line of credit. A loan against my house. A loan I never applied for. My stomach drops through the floor. With clumsy fingers, I navigate to my credit monitoring app, the one I'd signed up for after college when my student loans kicked in. I scroll through recent activity, heart pounding in my ears. There it is. A hard inquiry from First National Bank. Dated 1 week ago. The coffee machine beeps, but I don't move. My mind races, piecing things together with sickening clarity. They hadn't just claimed my condo was for Bryce at dinner. They'd already acted on it. They'd used my social security number, my date of birth, my personal information. The manila folder Patricia was clutching, it wasn't an application. It was the final paperwork they needed me to sign. I brace myself against the counter, suddenly dizzy. My mother. The only person who would know my social security number from when she helped me fill out college financial aid forms. Patricia, who still had copies of my birth certificate, just in case. The mastermind behind this whole scheme. And Bryce, the one who stood to gain. The one willing to use his shoulder to break down my door this morning. My tears dry up. The trembling in my hands stops. The crushing weight in my chest transforms into something cold and hard and certain. This wasn't just a family dispute over property. This was identity theft. This was fraud. This was a crime. My phone chimes with a text message. Ethan, my upstairs neighbor. We're not close, just the occasional nod in the elevator or casual chat by the mailboxes. Hey, heard the commotion. Sounded awful. Just letting you know I'm here if you need a witness or anything. I stare at his message, oddly touched by this small act of normal human decency. How sad that it stands out so starkly against my family's behavior. Thank you, Ethan. I might. I set down the phone and open my laptop. The bank's website loads, and I click the link for reporting fraud. The customer service number appears on screen, and I punch it into my phone with steady fingers. Fraud department. This is Karen speaking. How may I help you? My name is Emery Nash. My voice sounds strange to my own ears, flat, mechanical, like it belongs to someone else. I've just been notified of a HELOC application I did not make. You have an appraisal scheduled for Monday. I am reporting this as identity theft. Cancel the application. Cancel the appraisal. I'm so sorry to hear that, Miss Nash. Can you verify the last 4 digits of your social security number? I recite the numbers, then my birth date and address when prompted. The woman takes me through security questions. Mother's maiden name, first pet, elementary school. The very information Patricia had used against me. I see the application here, Miss Nash. You're saying you did not authorize this? I did not. And you believe you know who may have applied using your information? I hesitate for just a heartbeat. Yes. May I ask who? My mother, Patricia Nash. The words hang in the air between us. I've done it. I've reported my own mother to a federal bank for identity theft. There is no going back. I understand, Miss Nash. This must be very difficult. Karen's voice softens. I've flagged this application as fraudulent. The appraisal will be canceled immediately. Would you like me to place a freeze on your credit report as well? Yes, please. And will you be filing a police report? We recommend doing so in cases of identity theft, even when family is involved. My chest tightens. A police report would make this real in a way I'm not ready to face. Not yet. I'll consider it. I understand. Just know that the application has been stopped. No one will access your home equity without your consent. I thank her and hang up, sinking onto one of the bar stools at my kitchen counter. The sunlight streams through my blinds, creating long stripes across the floor just like it did this morning when the pounding at my door began. Was it only hours ago? It feels like years. My home remains mine. My family has been stopped for now, but as I stare at my phone, I know with absolute certainty, this is just the beginning. The bank calls on Saturday afternoon. Miss Nash, this is Amanda Heller from First National's Fraud Department. We've processed your report and frozen the HELOC application immediately. I thank her, my voice hollow. The weight of what I've done reporting my own mother for identity theft settles in my chest like concrete. We're required to notify the applicant, she continues. The contact number provided was for Patricia Nash. Is that correct? My stomach knots. Yes, that's my mother. A pause. I understand. Given the situation, would you like us to note a potential harassment concern on your file? I hadn't thought that far ahead. Yes, I whisper. Please do. After hanging up, I sit motionless at my kitchen counter, waiting for the explosion. My phone remains mercifully silent all afternoon. By evening, I've convinced myself they've finally accepted defeat. I'm wrong. Sunday dawns with a pounding at my door, so violent it rattles the framed photographs on my hallway wall. The sound jolts me from sleep, adrenaline flooding my system. Emery! Patricia's voice pierces through the wood. Not the controlled, butter-smooth tone she uses in public, but something sharp-edged and desperate. Emery, open this door right now. I pull on my robe and approach cautiously, keeping the chain latched as I crack the door. Patricia stands alone, her blonde hair perfect despite the early hour. She clutches a leather portfolio to her chest, knuckles white. The appraiser is coming tomorrow morning, she says, words rushing out. Bryce needs you to sign these papers right now. Her lie lands between us. She doesn't know I've already canceled the appraisal. There is no appraisal, Mom. My voice emerges calmer than I expect. I canceled it when I reported your fraud. The color drains from her face. For 3 heartbeats, the hallway falls silent enough to hear the hum of the elevator down the corridor. Then her features contort. You did what? The shriek rips from her throat. Do you have any idea what you've done? You've destroyed everything. An elderly couple walking to the elevator quickens their pace, exchanging uncomfortable glances. Mrs. Delgado can hear you, I say quietly, nodding toward my neighbor's door. I don't care who hears me. Patricia slams her palm against the doorframe. This is unbelievable. You're a woman, Emery. You'll get married and move away eventually. Stop being selfish and holding on to something your brother needs to build his career. The words should hurt. They've always hurt before. But something has shifted inside me, like a lock finally clicking into place. You taught me that family only matters when they need something from you. I tell her through the narrow opening. Lesson learned, Mom. Thanks. I close the door as she launches into another tirade. Her voice follows me as I walk to the kitchen, but it feels distant now, like background noise from someone else's apartment. My phone buzzes with a notification an hour later. Bryce has posted on Facebook, betrayed by my own flesh and blood. Some people would rather see their family fail than do the right thing. 6 likes. 3 sympathetic comments. I take a screenshot, saving it to a folder I've created labeled Evidence. Monday morning arrives with a fresh assault. My phone pings with a Google Business Review alert. Someone named Jay Thompson has left my interior design company a 1-star review. Unreliable designer, deceitful, mentally unstable. 5 minutes later, another appears on Yelp under a different name but with identical wording. I recognize Patricia's favorite phrases immediately. My hand doesn't shake as I take screenshots of both. Instead of panic, a cold clarity fills my chest. They're escalating, moving from emotional manipulation to attacking my livelihood. The phone rings. It's Aunt Marlene, my father's sister. The only person who ever stood up to Patricia at family gatherings. Emery, I just saw Bryce's Facebook post. What on earth is going on? I explain everything. The dinner, the locked door, the fraudulent loan application. My voice remains steady until I mention the fake reviews targeting my business. Those absolute vultures. Marlene hisses. Honey, this isn't a family squabble anymore. This is criminal. I know, I say. Aunt Marlene, I'm sending you an email right now. I just want someone else to have copies of everything. Send it all, she says firmly. Every last bit. Your mother has always been. Well, I won't say it, but using your social security number? That's not a family issue, Emery. That's a felony. After we hang up, I compile the evidence, the mortgage statements, the loan notification, the screenshots of reviews, the video from Saturday morning, and send it all to Marlene. The action feels like building a fortress around myself, brick by digital brick. My phone buzzes with a text from Ethan, my upstairs neighbor. Your mom was back this morning. Just for your information. My security camera caught the audio from the hallway. I text back. Can you save that footage? His reply comes instantly. Already done. Another ally. Another brick in the wall between me and the people who raised me. The week crawls forward. I lose a small client, the Hendersons, who needed help with their guest room. We heard you might be having some personal issues, Mrs. Henderson says awkwardly on the phone. We think we should go in another direction. The 1-star reviews are working. For the first time since Saturday, despair threatens to overwhelm my newfound resolve. I sit on my living room floor, surrounded by fabric samples for a project that might never happen, and allow myself 5 minutes to cry. When the tears stop, my phone buzzes with a text. It's from my father, the first contact since Saturday morning when he stood silently by the elevator, watching Patricia and Bryce attack my door. Family meeting. My house. Tonight. Attendance mandatory. I stare at the message, noting his choice of words. Not our house, but my house. Not we need to talk, but attendance mandatory. Like I'm being summoned to the principal's office. The Douglas Nash I grew up with would never have phrased a message that way. This has Patricia's fingerprints all over it. I don't respond. Instead, I pick up my keys and head to the office supply store. If they want a meeting, I'll give them one, but on my terms, with my evidence and my voice. They think they know me, quiet Emery, who gave up her dreams, who never fights back, who always puts family first. They have no idea who I've become since I changed the door code. As I drive, I rehearse what I'll say, what I'll show them, how I'll stand my ground. Tonight isn't about negotiation. It's about drawing a line that can never be crossed again. For the first time in my life, I'm ready for the fight they've started. The Office Depot sign flickers overhead, bathing me in harsh fluorescent light as I stand before the printing counter. The clerk slides 3 black binders across the laminate surface. You want these spiral-bound or 3-ring? He asks. 3-ring, I answer, my voice steadier than I expected. I need to be able to add pages if necessary. The truth is, I hope I won't need to. The evidence I've assembled should be enough. 8 years of mortgage statements, the property deed with my signature alone, the fraudulent HELOC email, my credit report showing the hard inquiry I never authorized. Screenshots of Bryce's Facebook rant and the 1-star reviews destroying my business reputation, all meticulously organized, just like I organize every client project. As I drive to my parents' house, the binders sit on my passenger seat like silent witnesses. Each one weighs exactly 2 pounds, 4 ounces. I know because I weighed them on the postal scale at Office Depot. 2 pounds, 4 ounces of truth. The autumn sun dips low on the horizon as I park in front of the brick colonial where I grew up, The house looks smaller somehow, less imposing than it did when I was a child. My hands grip the steering wheel until my knuckles turn white. I force my fingers to unclench. You're not the same person who sat silent at that dinner table, I whisper to myself. Not anymore. I gather the binders and walk up the familiar cracked concrete path to the front door. Inside, I can see them through the window. Patricia, Douglas, and Bryce, seated around the dining room table, like a tribunal awaiting a defendant. The oak table gleams under the chandelier light, polished to a high shine. My mother always polishes the furniture before ambushes. I don't knock. I still have a key. 8 years of having it, and today might be the last time I use it. They look up in unison as I enter. My father sits at the head of the table, his reading glasses perched on his nose, hands folded before him like a judge. Patricia sits to his right, her posture perfect, butter-yellow cardigan buttoned to her throat despite the warm evening. Bryce slouches to Dad's left, his eyes darting between his phone and my face. You're late, Patricia says. I check my watch. I'm actually 3 minutes early. We expected you to be at least 10 minutes early, she sniffs. That's how a respectful daughter behaves. I say nothing, just close the front door behind me. Douglas clears his throat and removes his glasses. Emery, this has gone too far, he says, his voice weighted with paternal authority. You're embarrassing this family. You canceled the loan. You upset your mother. We are here to fix this. He taps a stack of papers at his elbow. You will sign these papers, and we will forget this whole thing. The old Emery would have wilted under that tone, that stare. The old Emery would have signed anything to make the tension dissolve, to restore what passed for peace in this household. But the old Emery died when she heard her brother trying to break down her door. I walk to the table, my steps measured. No rushing, no apologizing. I place a binder in front of each of them, black, professional, identical except for the names printed on the spines. What is this? Douglas asks, annoyance creeping into his tone. It's my answer, I say. Patricia flips hers open first, manicured fingers spreading the cover wide. Her eyes fall on the HELOC email I'd placed on the first page, the bank's letterhead crisp and damning at the top. Her face flushes red, then drains to chalk white. She snaps the binder shut. You wouldn't dare, she hisses, voice low and dangerous. Bryce opens his more cautiously, like he's afraid it might explode. He turns to the section tabbed with his name and finds printouts of his own Facebook post about family betrayal, followed by the anonymous 1-star reviews that appeared on my business pages hours after. Reviews that use phrases he's fond of, mentally unstable and deceitful, in the exact order he tends to say them. He turns pale, Adam's apple bobbing as he swallows. Only Douglas actually reads. He starts with the property deed, his reading glasses sliding back onto his nose. His finger traces the signatures, only mine. Not his, not Patricia's. He flips to the 8 years of mortgage statements. Each one bears the same memo line in my handwriting, future fund payment. His eyebrows draw together as he turns to the credit report page showing the hard inquiry from First National Bank, dated exactly 1 week before my father's birthday dinner. What is this? He murmurs, more to himself than to me. That's evidence of identity theft. I say, my voice calm despite the thunder of my heartbeat. Someone used my social security number to apply for a home equity line of credit on my property without my knowledge or consent. Douglas looks up sharply. But who would? He stops. His eyes slide to Patricia. Understanding dawns across his face like a sunrise, but there's nothing warm in it. Just cold, clear light, revealing things he hadn't wanted to see. Patricia, he whispers, looking up at my mother with newfound horror. You used her social security number? The room stills. A car passes outside, its headlights sweeping across the living room wall like a searchlight. My mother doesn't apologize. She doesn't explain. Instead, she bursts into tears, not soft, remorseful ones, but sharp, angry sobs that erupt from her throat like accusations. He's your son, she shrieks, pointing at Bryce. We're going to lose everything! The words echo in the silence that follows. My father stares at her, mouth slightly open. Bryce can't meet anyone's eyes. He hunches further in his chair, suddenly fascinated by the grain of the oak table. The united front they presented when I arrived has shattered. I watch as my father's shoulders slump, the weight of realization crushing the righteous anger he'd prepared. That's not true, I say, looking directly at my father. You're not going to lose anything, because you never put in a single dollar. I'm the one who lost. I lost my $20,000 future fund for New York. I lost my spot in the master's program. I lost 8 years of my life believing I wasn't good enough, all while I was paying your bills. Douglas flinches. The truth lands like a physical blow. I'm not here to negotiate, I continue. I'm here to inform you. Bryce shifts in his seat, mouth opening to interrupt. I silence him with a look. I stand taller, drawing strength from the cold clarity that has replaced my fear. The HELOC is dead. The bank has flagged your phone number. Aunt Marlene has a copy of this binder. So does my neighbor Ethan, who has video of you harassing me at my door. If one more one-star review appears, if any of you text me, email me, or come within 100 feet of my home, I'm filing a police report for identity theft and harassment. Patricia's face contorts. You ungrateful little... My mother's mascara runs in black rivulets down her cheeks. My brother's knuckles turn white as he grips the edge of the table. My father just looks lost. A man waking up to find the script he'd been reading from was written by someone else. Patricia looks to Douglas, expecting him to take control as he always has, to bring me back in line. But my father just stares at the binder, at the evidence of what they've done. We're done, I say. I don't wait for a response. I turn and walk to the door, my back straight, my steps unhurried. Behind me, I hear my mother's voice, high and desperate. Douglas, tell her she has to. My father says nothing. The door closes behind me with a soft click, far gentler than the slam I'd imagined in all my rehearsals. Outside, the evening air smells of cut grass and distant rain. I breathe it in deeply, filling my lungs, and for the first time in 8 years, the tightness in my chest begins to ease. I leave the binders, the proof of their betrayal, on the table and drive away from the smoking ruins of their plan. I don't look back. 3 months later, I'm sitting motionless at my desk. The only thing moving is the blinking cursor on the screen. My Google business page, the one I spent 8 years building, now displays a glaring, sickening number: 1.5 stars. A perfect nosedive. From 4.9 stars and 80 positive reviews down to this. I scroll. Unreliable, unprofessional, mentally unstable, cancelled at the last minute. Every comment, whether anonymous or from a fake name, echoes my mother's tone and Bryce's spite. They were carefully crafted, not like amateur complaints, but like a deliberate takedown campaign. I fought them. God, how I fought. I sent Google and Yelp copies of the bank report, the video from my phone, even screenshots of Bryce's texts. I wrote professional explanations. This is part of a personal smear campaign. The only response I got was a soulless, automated email. We have reviewed your complaint and found these reviews do not violate our community policy. My phone rings on the desk, the sound making me jump. I've learned to hate that sound. I glance at it. Martin Lowell. Austin Modern. My heart sinks. This is it. The final blow. Martin is my biggest client. I take a breath, trying to keep my voice steady. This is Emery. Emery? Hi. Martin Lowell. His voice is too kind. That's always a bad sign. Listen, I'll be direct. We're going to have to pause the design contract for the South Congress project. I close my eyes. I understand, I say, the words feeling like ash. He sighs. It's not me, Emery. Your work is excellent. But the board. They saw the reviews. They see words like unstable, and they think lawsuit. Our investors are nervous. I understand. I repeat. What else can I say? That my mother did it. It sounds crazier than the reviews. I'm really sorry, Emery. Thanks for calling me, Martin. I hang up. The condo is silent. That's the third contract canceled this month. The one that was keeping my lights on. My mind drifts across town. I know what I'd find if I drove past the storefront Bryce had leased. A big, red, for lease sign hanging in the window. The grand opening banner he'd boasted about never having made it past the planning stage. His company, the one entirely dependent on that fraudulent loan, had collapsed before it even began. I'd called the bank. I'd canceled the appraisal. I'd reported the identity theft. I had won. But it's a small, hollow comfort, considering my career might soon follow his. I close my laptop. I walk to the window, looking out at the glittering Austin skyline. 8 years. I gave up New York for this view. I fought my own family to keep it. And now I have it, but I'm losing the career that pays for it. Sometimes winning feels an awful lot like losing. A hot tear of anger, not sadness, but pure, raw injustice slides down my cheek. I wipe it away, not gently, but angrily. No. I say the word out loud in the empty room. No, she doesn't win. He doesn't win. I look at my hands, the hands that sketched hundreds of designs, the hands that chose every fabric, every piece of stone. They're still here. They're still capable. I built this business from scratch, with nothing but talent, $20,000, and blind determination. I've lost my reputation, but the talent is still here. I can rebuild it. One client at a time, if I have to. I walk back to my desk and open my laptop again. I ignore the Google business page. I open my design software. I open the project file I'd been working on tirelessly for weeks, my submission for the city's Young Entrepreneur Program. The reviews could hurt me, but they couldn't stop my work. At least this time, I'm standing on ground that's truly mine. 5 months since I firmly claimed this house as my own. Sunshine streams through freshly washed windows, painting golden rectangles across my living room floor. The space breathes differently now. Potted herbs line the kitchen windowsill. Basil, mint, and rosemary, releasing their fragrance when my fingers brush against them. The snake plant beside my drafting table has sprouted 3 new shoots since January. Green things growing, small promises kept. My phone pings. An email from the City of Austin's Young Entrepreneur Program, the one I applied for in February when business was still a skeletal version of itself. Congratulations, Miss Nash. We are pleased to inform you that your application has been accepted. I read it twice, then a third time, just to make sure the words don't rearrange themselves. My hands tremble slightly as I scroll down to find another paragraph inviting me to speak at their spring conference, a SXSW Small Business Track panel. The road back wasn't quick or easy. After the 3-month smear campaign, I lost nearly half my clients. Each morning I'd wake up to check my business page, 1.5 stars glaring back at me like an accusation. But I refused to lie down and die. My business is under a personal smear campaign. I told every potential client who contacted me, laying the truth bare like tiles on a floor, please judge me on my work. Some walked away. The ones who stayed, they saw my portfolio and decided it spoke louder than anonymous internet vitriol. I grab my coffee and step onto my small balcony. The April air carries the scent of someone's barbecue and freshly cut grass. A cardinal lands on the railing, considers me with a sideways glance, then flits away toward the oak trees lining the property. The elevator dings down the hall. I turn and catch Ethan retrieving his mail from the cluster of boxes near the lobby entrance. He glances up, notices me, and pauses. Unlike 6 months ago, there's no nervous hesitation, no pity in his eyes. "Saw, you're speaking at the SXSW Small Business Track," he says, folding a magazine under his arm. "That's big time. Congrats, Emery." No lemon tarts as peace offerings. No awkward attempts at rescue. Just simple acknowledgement between neighbors. "Thanks," I say, meaning it. Later that week, I stand at the edge of the conference stage, waiting for my introduction. My heart hammers against my ribs, but it's the clean fear of anticipation, not the dirty panic of those Saturday mornings when pounding at my door sent me into spirals of dread. The moderator's voice rings out. "Please welcome Austin-based interior designer and entrepreneur, Emery Nash." I step into the spotlight, my burgundy blazer a splash of color against the stage backdrop. The microphone feels solid in my hand as I begin to speak. The woman at this podium bears little resemblance to the silent girl who once sat at birthday dinners, fork suspended, while everyone laughed at her expense. When I finish, the applause washes over me, warm and validating. I step down from the platform, scrolling through my notes when I spot them. 2 familiar figures standing near the exit. My parents look smaller somehow. Dad's shoulders slope beneath his sport coat. Mom's hair is different, less severe. They approach hesitantly, like people who've forgotten how to navigate familiar terrain. "You did good, kid," Douglas says quietly, the nickname from my childhood landing awkwardly between us. Patricia's eyes search mine. Really search. Instead of just skimming past to find what she wants. Can we start over? Her voice lacks its usual cutting edge. Something shifts inside me. Not forgiveness exactly, but perhaps the soil where it might eventually grow. Maybe. I tell them, my voice steady, when starting over isn't just about you losing control of me. I smile politely, turn, and walk away to join a group of my peers who are waving me over to their table. Behind me, my parents stand alone. Freedom isn't when they stop pulling you down, it's when you stop letting them.